Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classics Show. I'm your host Shabnam Riaz. It's wonderful to be here again, and today we have a phenomenal literary figure who we are going to talk about, Allama Muhammad Iqbal, of course, Pakistan's national poet, also the title of the Poet of the East, and he was known as a philosopher and a politician in British India, who was also, a major force in the two-nation theory as well. Now, to discuss Allama Iqbal, I have in the studios a very, very esteemed guest, Mr. Ahmad Hammad, who is also an author, a poet. You're teaching filmmaking and the philosophy of films. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I must say that when we were speaking earlier before the program, I thought it was very, very interesting to know that there is actually philosophy for filmmaking, and we will discuss that later on in the show. It's very, very endearing.
Right.
Now, talking about Allama Iqbal, a huge personality, a towering figure, somebody who has contributed so much to Urdu literature. How does one start to generalize the work of Iqbal, the impact on the Urdu language, where he took influence from, where he gave influence? Right. How do we touch the tip of the iceberg there?
I think that if you want to start studying Iqbal, the starting point must be his diary, which is Stray Reflections. And he wrote it for himself, but in the later stages, his son brought it out. And when we just page through the diary, we come to know that Iqbal was a genius, and his study was very vast, and it was extending from metaphysics to physics and from chemistry to astrology, and etc. and so forth. Iqbal studied a lot. Iqbal studied Persian poetry as well. As you were saying that he had a great impact on Urdu literature. Yes, he had a great impact on literature, but it will be very interesting to note that he had an impact on contemporary Persian poetry as well.
He wrote, the majority of his work was in Persian.
In Persian. The first book that came out was in Persian as well. Asrar-e-Khudi was the first one that got published, and it was in Persian. And the our Iranian brothers and sisters, they love Iqbal, and they call him Iqbal Lahori for the reason that he lived in Lahore. And he was Dr. Ali Shariati used to call him Ali Gune, that if someone is like Ali alayhi salam in this contemporary world, it was Iqbal, because he had all the qualities which Maula Ali wanted someone to be, someone to possess, because he was brave, because he believed in movement, because he believed in the warmth of life, because he did not believe in collecting so many worldly things. He did not believe in collecting capital. He was ghani in the simplest way. Ghani, when you are happy when you are happy without having any worldly things, and you are happy with your ambitions only, you are ghani. So Iqbal was Ali Gune to Ali Shariati. So he not only influenced, again I must say that he did not influence us only, he influenced the people who were writing across the border. And his Persian poetry was great, and Javed Nama is the greatest work of Iqbal, and it's a long poem in Persian. In Javed Nama, he supposes that Rumi, Maulana Pir Rumi.
He was also greatly inspired by Rumi.
He was a spiritual leader, spiritual leader of Iqbal. And Iqbal assumes that Rumi comes and takes him to the heavens, the first heaven, and then they travel to the second heaven. They meet so many people, and at every stage they actually discuss things. They discuss with the people whom they meet on the first heaven, then the second heaven, then the third heaven. And this is how this poem continues and tells us about the philosophy of life and the philosophy of life hereafter. So Iqbal was a genius. His study was phenomenal, as you said earlier in the introduction. I think, and not only Persian and Arabic, he was influenced by, he
English writing as
by,
well.
yes, by the German people. Goethe was a great poet. Goethe is the national poet of Germany, we know that. And Iqbal is the national poet of Pakistan. Goethe, let's talk about Goethe a little, if you allow, please.
Sure. Yeah.
Goethe was greatly influenced by the Persian poetry. He used to dream of coming to Shiraz, to Iran, and he used to say that Hafiz Shirazi is his spiritual leader. He was this much impressed by Hafiz Shirazi that he used to say, the point where all European literature ends, Persian poetry starts from there. And
in fact, Iqbal had said that, the sweetness of the Persian language is something that I heavily rely on, because you have to have that creative outlet as well when you are a poet, when you are a writer. In choosing your medium of expression, there'll always be something subconsciously where you will go to, where you will feel that, this is doing more justice to me as a writer.
It is said that great thought brings its medium along with it. You don't have to coin the medium. You don't have to coin the diction. If you are thinking high, the high diction will come to you. And Goethe was, as I was talking earlier, Goethe was influenced by Persian, by Hafiz Shirazi, and in response to Hafiz Shirazi's Divan, he wrote a Divan. Goethe wrote a Divan, and he entitled that book as Divan. Although he was a German and Divan is a Persian word, still he entitled his book as Divan-e-Goethe. And when Iqbal read that Divan, Iqbal took it as the message from the East, and he wanted to create a narrative from the East as well. It was Goethe's was the message from the West to the East, and Iqbal wanted to respond. He then responded in the form of a long poem, Peyam-e-Mashriq, and Peyam-e-Mashriq was a response to Divan-e-Goethe. And in the preface, if you go through the preface of Peyam-e-Mashriq is a Persian book, but preface has been written in Urdu. And to your surprise, to our surprise, Iqbal's eye on international literature was so keen, so sensitive, so analytical. One wonders how come he actually studied everything, almost everything of his contemporary people. He analyzes Heine, he analyzes Schiller, and he analyzes Goethe, and you name it. So Iqbal was really, he had a great study of European literature, of Arabic literature, of Persian literature, English literature. He used to say that I was fearing, and at one stage I was an atheist. Almost I had adopted this path, but it was Wordsworth who saved me to be an atheist for good. He said that nature talks to me through the poetry of Wordsworth. And it's the poetry of Wordsworth because of which I am still a Momin or a Muslim. And I mean, look at the versatility.
And his poetry was very religiously inclined. It was all